Today's a huge day for the MLS lovers like myself because we got the full MLS update on Sorare showing us what we can expect this summer in the MLS competition. Now, if you want to read this yourself, I will link it in the description down below if you want to go through it, but I imagine everyone on here actually plays Sorare, so you'll know that you got a notification in-game to link to this blog anyway. You've probably already read it yourself, but we got dates, we got information on competitions, we've got a new Beat the Game mode, and we're going to dive straight into it. So the MLS Early Access cards are launching Tuesday, February 11th, which I'm fine with. I think the first game week on the MLS is like the 26th anyway. It gives you a couple of weeks to buy your cards. I kind of wish they'd give us a little bit more notice with this. I will say a bit of criticism on Sorare's part is telling us 5 days in advance. Like, I would have liked to have known about this maybe a couple of weeks ago. You can start planning your funds. You can start like taking out your second mortgages and your loans with insane high interest rate. I am just kidding. But no, it would have been nice to have known this a couple of weeks ago because I think for a few people, like, obviously we know the MLS is coming up in a couple of weeks, but like, I think the K-League was like a day in advance, so we never truly know. It would have been nice to have a little bit more of a sort of heads up. We also know that we're getting a 5% chance to win a second MLS card for free and a 95% chance to win MLS Essence. Now, I find it a little bit funny because I remember in the summer, wasn't it a 50% chance or something to win a card? So I think maybe they give away too many cards in the summer and they like have reeled that one back in. But it's still fine. I like the little sort of promo here. You will hopefully come away with an extra card or two if you buy a bunch of MLS cards, given the fact you win Essence and potentially cards as well. So it's a nice little bonus. I'm not complaining whatsoever. I don't mind it. And as it said there, you need to purchase an MLS card before Friday, February 21st at 4 p.m. to be eligible for this promo. So you've got about, what, 10 days? Something like that. It's fine. This is just an additional bonus anyway. There's no... Like, I don't have any issue with that. Division battle. Now, this is going to determine which division you'll get put in. It's going to be one massive leaderboard, and the top 25% of people for the first game week will be put into Div 1, 25 to 75% Div 2, and the bottom 25% Div 3. So it kind of makes you want to make sure you buy your best cards early, maybe get them in training for a week, get the XP, and make sure you are kind of playing your best teams to hopefully get 1, 2, or 3 Division 3 in-season lineups. I think it's the same with Classic as well. So it's all going to be condensed into one long, big leaderboard for the first game week, and that's how we're going to determine which divisions we're in. We also have the prize pools for these, so make sure you stick around. This is something I'm quite excited about, and I've seen a bit of negativity around this. This is the Beat the Game mode. Now, they did announce a couple of weeks ago, or maybe a month ago now or something, they announced that if you have 5 in-season cards, you'll be eligible to play the Beat the Game mode as well as the standard game mode. So it's just an additional extra if you play 5 in-season cards in a lineup. Now, it's not a requirement. You can play a classic card, but it is something you can do if you have 5 in-season cards. And it's called Hot Streaks. I'm going to keep it a stack. I don't know about the whole Hot Streaks gimmick. Like, I think maybe we could have just, we could have just called it like some Beat the Game, the progress bar. No, I'm just kidding. That was like, if you guys don't remember when Essence came out and everyone was complaining about it being called Essence, that was the joke there. Anyway, let's show you the graphic for this because it's actually pretty cool. I kind of like the, shout out to the designer for this. So the way this works is if you have 5 in-season cards, you are each week, so long as you have the reset. So each week you are entered into the tier that you are in. So for example, first game week in Div 1, you hit 420 points, you get $10 and you climb to the second tier. If in the second game week, one of your 3 lineups hits 430 points, you get the $20 plus $20 market credit, which is valid for 14 days, and you move up to the 3rd tier, and then vice versa, the 4th tier, the 5th tier. So you have to get them in a row. If you don't enter a lineup, you reset to the bottom tier again for the following game week as well. So you can't just not enter get a lineup if you have poor matchups as well. And basically every week you have to... It's a streak. You have to get the next point total every single week. Now, there's been a lot of complaints about this, but first thing I will remind you, This is an additional extra. This is not the actual prize pools. It's not the game mode. And we didn't have this in any of the competitions. So whilst there's been complaints about this, oh, it's going to be really hard to get 5 in a row. Yeah, you get $400 if you get 500 points after the streak. Like, that's a lot of money to be given out to a rare lineup for nothing, for literally just having 5 in-season cards. So I think the complaints, whilst it does seem like a bit of a slog, I don't think the complaints are massively valid because it's an additional extra. It's not like you have to enter a new game mode. You can't, and like you're just entering your lineup to win rewards that week anyway. It's just an additional bonus. And I actually think the first 3 rungs are going to be pretty easy for most people. Bear in mind that rare cards now have 10% scarcity bonus, not 5%. So an additional 5% on all your cards. And if you think about it like this, right? If you have a 5% collection bonus and a 10% scarcity bonus on game week 1 with 0% XP on your card, you will have, with 100 points on the captain, you'll get 165 points with a captaincy bonus. That will make it so that you would need average scores for the rest of your cards to hit that first 420. Like 420 points with the new scarcity bonus is not a massive score at all. 430 and 440 aren't ridiculous either. 440 is quite, like, it's not easy, but it's not ridiculous. I think I hit 460 last game week with my Forest players, which was quite a good score, to be honest. Yeah, so I got 23 points with Leif Davies, 58 points for Elliot Anderson, and then 3 big scores. Obviously, my captain getting a big score as well, who had a 17.1, or what's that? 71.5% bonus, and then a 19% bonus on Chris Wood. So, like, I had a horrendous score with Leif Davies, an incredibly average score with Elliot Anderson, and then a good score with my goalkeeper, captain, and striker. And I got 480 points. So if we go back to it, like, that, if you look at that score, if your goalie was the one getting 23 points, right, and then your defender got 58.9 points, and then, you know, you've got Messi, I was gonna say Cucho, but RIP. I don't know, you got Messi, like Evander, and I don't know, Ferreira. I can't think top of my head. I'm sorry, my mind's going blank. But like, that score will get you that sort of 460 point mark. So if you've already had 3 maybe slightly above average scores in a row, you don't need to, like, you just need your luck to align for 3 players realistically. The other 2 can be below average scores. Maybe my point's not being articulated the best. The point I'm making is, it seems like a lot of points now, but with these extra scarcity bonus, maybe some collection bonus in there, like, it's not going to be as impossible as it may seem to unlock potentially $70 to $170. Like, I'm happy thinking with 3 lineups that every 3 game weeks I'm unlocking an extra $70, as well as my additional rewards that I win, right? Plus a 20% market credit. Like, I like the idea that I can probably every 3 game weeks, like, I would say I'm quite confident of getting that 440 points in a 3 like streak, and then I think I could probably get that 460 as well. I think the only thing that would be really annoying is, imagine hitting that 500 points and you're on like the 4th tier, right? And then the week after you hit 461 points and you don't get the 500 points, $400, and it's like, if the game weeks were flipped, that's going to annoy the hell out of people. I totally understand that, but again, it's an additional extra, and you don't have to do anything extra to enter it. You just have to have 5 in season rather than 4 in season. And I think that will be a lot of people would have probably played 5 in season anyway, or like there'll be some people that, or there'll be probably most people would have played a classic card, but like there'll be a few people that would have played 5 in season anyway. I play quite a lot of lineups with 5 in season cards. This lineup I just showed you was 5 in season cards. So like, yeah, I think like it's one of those where I don't think the complaints are massively valid. I think that this is actually a really cool additional extra. I think that it's just a nice way to make an extra few dollars a game week. And I think like, yeah, I don't think complaints about this are massively valid. But that being said, you know, anything new is going to be an issue. And to see how you're doing, you're going to have a little streaks thing on the main menu, and it's going to show you, oh, you know, I'm 2 rungs away, I'm 1 rung away. Like, it's going to show you that as well. So I personally really like the concept. I really like the idea. I think that the amount you get is solid. I think that it's going to be an extra bonus. I'm not complaining about this at all. I really like the concept, and I hope that we get this for more leagues in the future as well. Yeah, and also the one thing I like about this as well, it incentivizes people to play every game week. There's some people that that won't run lineup certain weeks because they're in Div 1. They don't want to get relegated. This, I think, will mean that divisions will shift a little bit. I think that people will be playing certain lineups every week they wouldn't have played. You can't just get away with not playing a lineup every week if you want to try and get that. Like, if you're on the third streak, you probably won't not play a lineup because you're like, oh, well, my matchups aren't great this week. I'm not going to play a lineup and go for it the next week. Like, you kind of will have to be, you'll be forced to like go and play it basically. So yeah, I kind of don't mind it. And the design's pretty cool as well. Like, yeah, I personally like it quite a bit. We'll go down there. So in Super Rare and Unique, they've announced something called Golden Goal. I don't play Super Rare, I don't play Unique, so I'm not going to sit here and give a massive amount of opinion on this. I don't like I just feel like year on year, I feel like So Rare kind of kill off Super Rare and Unique a little bit. That's just from an outsider's opinion. I don't think they give it enough love every year, is what I'm saying. But I think, like, from the outside looking in, it's going to be hard to hit 650 and 600 points, like, very hard. I've seen people do it. I've seen Pranksy do it a few times. It's going to be difficult, but, like, again, this is one of those where if it's not been hit for a few weeks and the price pool's at $4,000 and then someone hits it with, like, a Charlotte FC stack or something, like a lineup they built for, like, $1,300 and they win $4,000 or something, like, that's a really cool Sorare story. So I think we'll see some people, like, this is something like across the course of a season, we're going to see Pranksy win it a hell of a lot. Don't get me wrong, but we might see every now and then like a small-time Super Rare player or a small-time Unique player, if they even exist, win like a huge amount of money in the pot because it's been going for a few weeks and not been hit. I kind of like that. Again, it's just another extra, but I feel like maybe they could have given Super Rare and Unique a bit more love than this, but that's just, that's a discussion for another day. So yeah, we've got the prize pools next. Now, the prize pools I've seen have been getting a lot of scrutiny. I'm only going to focus on Rare in this video because I only play Rare, and I don't want to sit here and give you my opinions on Limited or Super Rare or Unique, because I'm not going to lie to you, I'm not educated enough to know about those prize pools, and I don't want to insult anyone's intelligence by saying I think this is good or bad, and it turns out it's the opposite, and I'm just ill-educated. So, looking at Rare, $1,000 for first, $500 for second, $250 for third, $125 for fourth and fifth, $50 for sixth to 10th, and then $20 for 11th to 40th, with 5 Essence 41st to the top 30%, and then some XP for the top 50%. Now, that's Div 1. Div 2 is obviously 500, 250, and 125. It's effectively like half in some aspects, maybe a little bit lower. And then Div 3 only pays down to 10th. Obviously, it massively incentivized trying to be in Div 1. I think that these prize pools look totally fine alongside the Beat the Game mode. They will look small right now. They'll look low right now because we're used to Prem being $3,000 or Bundesliga being 2,000, whatever it is, like Challenger being 2,000, whatever it is. Like, it's going to look small, but if you go back to last year, I actually did a bit of digging last year. I looked at a few of the prize pools last year. So last year, this was June 14th to 19th in Challenger, when I'm pretty sure it was just Brazil and MLS playing in Challenger, and I think there was only one licensed team in Brazil as well. Pretty sure it was just Palmeiras. First place got $800, second place got $500, third place got $350, fourth got $180, fifth to 10th got $90, 11th to 20th got $50, and then 21st to 35th got $30. Now, looking at that in comparison in Div 1, it's this one right here, right? It obviously pays down to 40th for $20, whereas this one pays down to 35th for $30. So it pays a little bit more, but to less places. The top spot is $200 more. It's actually a little bit more for third than third on the new one as well, and it's a little bit more for the lower spots. I think it pays out probably in total a similar amount. I think it might pay out a bit more last year than it is this year, but it's like the point is it's very similar. First is more, second is about the same. It's really similar. It hasn't changed massively, but I think that because we've seen leagues with like multiple, like the Premier League gets juiced, right, and like Bundesliga gets juiced, La Liga gets juiced. The Challenger's got loads of teams in it, so it's quite high. Contender's the same as well. Maybe it's warped the perception of how much money was in it last year, but I remember last year, the prize pools are very similar. I won D2 last year, and I won $500. I remember it. So, like, that's pretty much a very similar concept this year. I don't think the prize pools look particularly low in Rare. I don't think it's worth complaining. Like, I think the only thing I don't like is like the 5 Essence flat, or like I kind of get it because this is what Essence should have been from day one. But my biggest gripe with Sorare, and I've said this on the Ramble podcast a few times, and like one of my biggest issues is they fucked Essence from day one, and it's now warped our perception of Essence. So that looks crap to me. That's what Essence probably should have been from day one. They did not like their naivety and the way that they thought people would deal with Essence was way off the mark. And unfortunately now anything that like getting 5 Essence for 41st or whatever, like it just doesn't feel like a big reward. If you finish 0.1 points away from $20 and you win 5 Essence, you're like, whatever. Do you know what I mean? So it does not look great. Now, they also gave us the prize pools for Classic, and there's been a lot of uproar with this one. Again, I don't play Classic that much, so it's going to be really hard for me to give a massive opinion on it that's incredibly well educated. I think the concept of giving out just stars and tier 1s kind of makes sense because I know that people have been disappointed with tier 2, 3, and 4 cards, and I think that not only do they want to try and avoid that disappointment with the prize pools, but also like they're probably sick of people moaning about the reward they get. It kind of makes sense giving out the Essence. So, for example, getting 6th to 10th, you're still winning a tier 3. If you craft that 100 Essence instantly, you're still winning a tier 3. So, like, it does make sense. They're still technically giving out, or tier 2, sorry. They're still technically giving out tier 2s, tier 3s by the Essence tiers. However, I just think, like, I think it probably is a lot less exciting. I'm not a big fan of them removing the money from the podiums either. Like, I think Div 1 podium in Classic should still reward you with something, even if it's like $200 or whatever. It should still reward you with money. I think it's very stingy to remove the money from that, and I hope that they bring out some money-winning special weeklies because it is a bit disappointing, and I think that this will definitely devalue some Classic cards. But at the same time, like, it's not changed as much as it looks. Like, you can still just craft cards at that level, whatever level you would have won it. I just think it's a lot less exciting. That's probably my biggest gripe. It's just a lot less exciting. If I came 6th and I was, 0.5 points away from winning a tier 1 and I'm getting 100 Essence instead, rather than getting a tier 2 and like the prize pools being a top of tier 2 could literally be a tier 1 card that's maybe had 2 bad game weeks in a row and his price has dropped, or maybe there was a bad rumor about him leaving and his price has dropped. I would much prefer that. I have been disappointed in the past with the cards I've won, but I've also been very lucky to win a tier 2 or a tier 3 that absolutely should be in the tier, like the higher tier prize pool. And with this, like, yeah, I'm not the world's biggest fan. I also feel like this is going to mean when you craft a tier 5 plus, for example, most of the time it's just going to be a tier 5, which is the case at the minute. But like, every time I craft a Premier League tier 5, and I get a high, like I crafted a UEFA recently, for example. It was like 82 out of 100 Dutch centre mid. I genuinely thought I got Gravenberch. Even though I knew it probably wouldn't have been Gravenberch, I genuinely thought in my head I got Gravenberch. Now I'm going to craft a tier 5 in Premier League. It's going to be like 82 out of 100 American defender, and it's going to be some 17-year-old kid that plays for the 2nd division side for some reason got minted in the Colorado Rapids team, for example. Like, it's going to be 86-year-old octogenarian right back who plays once every season and gets injured, right? Like, I feel like the excitement's kind of been taken away there. But I will say, overall, I'm actually I'm looking forward to the MLS with this update. I think that Sorare definitely feels like they're going down more of the route of like the churn route than just the high prize like first place route. It definitely feels like, for me, in the way I play the game, and if you guys know, I've always been like a churner kind of guy. Like, I like to churn. I like to win my $100 every week rather than winning like obviously I'd love to win the $3,000 prize every single week, but like I am satisfied if I get, I don't know, 20th place in Premier League and win $100. Like, I'm happy with that. So for me personally, it definitely suits me, and I like this update. I really like the hot streaks. I really like the idea of it, and I think the prize pools look fine to me. I understand that there are gripes with it, and some of it's valid. I agree, some of it's valid. Some of it's a bit invalid as well. I think that no matter what, Sorare is going to get heat, no pun intended, for their updates and things like that. But I don't mind it too much. That's the update anyway. Let me know your thoughts down below. get a discourse in the comments, please. Let me know what you think. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.